Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyahet Sarva Vignopashantahe. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Mavet Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Agajānana Patmarkam Gajanana Maharnisham Anekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Gurave Sarva Lokanam Bishaje Bhavaroginam Nidaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Asmad Guru Charanaravindabyam Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Jnanaanandamayam Devam Nirmalasphatika Kritim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Shri Hayagrivam Upasmahe Shri Hayagriva-murthaye Namaha Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Shri Mahasaraswati Namaha Uma Komala Hastabja Sambhavitalatakam Hiranyakundalam Vande Kumaram Pushkarasrajam Vetrivel Muruganek Har Harohara Lokaviryam Mahapujyam Sarvaraksha-karam Vibhum Parvati Hridayanandam Shastaram Pranamamyaham Swamiye Sharanamayappa Vagarta Viva Sampraktau Vagarta Pratipattaye Jagadah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Shri Parvati Parameshwarabhyam Namaha Komalam Kujayan Venum Shyamaloyam Kumarakah Veda Vedyam Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Asmad Guru Charanaravindabyam Namaha Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Shri Natha Narayana Vasudeva Pītāmbaram Karavirajita Chakra Shanka Kaumodaki Sarasijam Karuna Samudram Radha Sahayam Atisundaramandahasam Vatalayesham Anisham Hridi Bhavayami Krishno Rakshatu Mam Chara Chara Guruhum Krishnam Namasye Sadha Krishne Naiva Surakshito Hamasakrite Krishnaya Dattam Hanaha Krishna Deva Samudbhavo Mama Vibho Krishnasya Dhasosmyaham Krishne Bhakti Rachancalastu Bhagavan He Krishna Tubhyam Namaha Shri Guru Vayurappa Sharanam Namranham Sanhidatte Satatamapi Purastairanabhyartitanapi Arthan Kamanajasram Vitarati Paramananda Sandram Gatim Cha Ittam Nisheshalabhyo Niravadika Palaha Parijato Hare Tvam Kshudram Tam Shakravati Drumam Abhilashati Vyartamarte Vrajohyam Shri Guru Vayurappa Sharanam Shri Bhattapadam Anisham Hridi Bhavayami Vamshi Vibhushitakarat Navaniradaabhat Pītāmbarat Arunabimbaphaladarostat Purnendu Sundaramukhat Aravindhanetrat Krishnat Param Kimapi Tattvamaham Najane Kairandum Kupinyan Bindu Mirakunnu Niraja Lochana Ninodhai Etinu Manyane Kumbirenda Toru Ritiyil Nihenne Palikyanai Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare. Good morning, everyone. Sindhuji, can you do chapter 5?
Sure. ഓം ശ്രീകൃഷ്ണായ പരബ്രഹ്മണേ നമഃ. വ്യക്താവ്യക്തമിദം ന കിഞ്ചിദഭവത് പ്രാക്പ്രാകൃത പ്രക്ഷയേ മായായാം ഗുണസാമ്യരുദ്ധവികൃതൗ ത്വയ്യാഗതായാം ലയം. നോ മൃത്യുശ്ച തദാമൃതം ച സമഭൂത് നാന്യോന്നരാത്രേ സ്ഥിതിഃ തത്രേകസ്ത്വമശിഷ്യതാഖില പരാനന്ദ പ്രകാശാത്മനാ. കാലകർമ്മ ഗുണാശ്ച ജീവനിവഹാഃ വിശ്വം ച കാര്യം വിഭോ ചില്ലീലാരതിമേയുഷി ത്വയി തഥാ നിർലീനതാമായയുഃ. തേഷാം നൈവ വദന്ത്യ സത്വമയി ഭോഃ ശക്ത്യാത്മനാധിഷ്ഠതാം. നോ ചേത് കിം ഗഗനപ്രസൂന സദൃശാം ഭൂയോ ഭവേത് സംഭവഃ. ഏവം ജദ്വിപരാർത്ഥകാല വിഗതാ വീക്ഷാംസി സൃക്ഷാത്മികാം ബിഭ്രാണേ ത്വയി ചുക്ഷുഭേ ത്രിഭുവനീ ഭാവായ മായാ സ്വയം. മായാധഃ ഖലു കാലശക്തിരഖിലാ ദൃഷ്ടം സ്വഭാവോ ബിജ പ്രാദുർഭൂയ ഗുണാൻ വികാസ്യ വിദതുഃ തസ്യാ സഹായക്രിയാം. മായാ സന്നിഹിതോ പ്രവിഷ്ടവപുഷാ സാക്ഷീതി ഗീതോ ഭവാൻ ഭേദൈസ്താം പ്രതിബിംബദോ വിവിശിവാൻ ജീവോऽപി നൈവാപരഃ. കാലാദിപ്രതിബോധിതാദ ഭവതാ സഞ്ജോദിതാജ സ്വയം. മായാ സാ ഖലു ബുദ്ധിതത്വമസൃജത് യോസൗ മഹാനുച്യതേ. തത്രാസൗ ത്രിഗുണാത്മകോ ബീജമഹാൻ സത്വപ്രധാനഃ സ്വയം. ജീവേസ്മിൻ ഖലു നിർവികൽപമഹമിത്യുദ്ബോധനിഷ്പാദകഃ. ചക്രേസ്മിൻ സവികൽപബോധകമഹൻ തത്വം മഹാൻ ഖല്വസൗ. സമ്പുഷ്ടം ത്രിഗുണൈസ്തമോതി ബഹുലം വിഷ്ണോ ഭവത്പ്രേരണാത്. സോഹം ജത്രിഗുണക്രമാത് ത്രിവിധതാമാസാദ്യ വൈകാരികോ ഭൂയസ്തൈജസതാമസാ വിധി ഭവൻ ആദ്യേന സത്വാത്മനാ. ദേവാനിന്ദ്രിയമാനിദോ ഹൃദ ദിശാവാദാർക്കഭാഷ്യശ്വിനോ വന്നീന്ദ്രാച്യുതമിത്രകാൻ വിദുവിധി ശ്രീരുദ്രശാരീരകാൻ. ഭൂമന്മാനസബുദ്ധ്യഹങ്കൃതിമിളച്ചിത്താഖ്യവൃത്യന്നിദം തച്ഛാന്തഃകരണം വിഭോ തവ ബലാത് സത്വാംശ ഏവാസൃജത്. ജാതസ്തൈജസദോ ദശേന്ദ്രിയഗണഃ തത്താമസാംശാത് പുനഃ. തന്മാത്രം നഭസോ മരുത്പുരപദേ ശബ്ദോ ജനിത്വദ്ബലാത്. ശബ്ദാബ്ദ്യോമ തതഃ സസർജിത വിഭോ സ്പർശം തദോ മാരുതം. തസ്മാദ്രൂപമദോ മഹോദജരസം തോയം ജഗന്ധം മഹീം. ഏവം മാധവ പൂർവപൂർവകലനാദ് ആദ്യാദ്യധർമാന്വിതം ഭൂതഗ്രാമമിമം ത്വമേവ ഭഗവൻ പ്രാകാശയസ്താമസാദ്. ഏതേ ഭൂതഗണാസ്തദേന്ദ്രിയഗണാഃ ദേവാശ്ച ജാതാ പൃഥങ്നോശേ ഗുർഭുവനാണ്ഡ നിർമ്മിത വിധൗ ദേവൈരമീഭിസ്തദാ. തം നാനാവിധ സൂക്തിഭിർനുദ ഗുണഃ തത്വാന്യമൂന്യാവിശൻ ചേഷ്ടാശക്തിമുദീര്യ താനി ഘടയൻ ഹൈരണ്യമണ്ഡം വ്യദാഹ.
Second line, Bhuvananda Nirmiti Vidhau. You said Nirmita. No Shikur Bhuvananda Nirmiti Vidhau.
Okay. Shogur Bhuvananda Nirmiti Vidhau Devairamiibhistada. Andam Dakhalu Purva Srishti Salile Tishtat Sahasram Samaha Nirbhindanagradascha Durdasha Jagadrubam Virada Hwayam. Sahasraikarabada Murtha Nivahaihi Nishesha Jivatmago നിർബാധോസി മരുത്പുരാധിപസമാം ത്രായസ്വ സർവാമയാത്. ശ്രീകൃഷ്ണായ പരബ്രഹ്മണേ നമഃ.
Very good. Just the last stanza, first line, Purva Srishta. You said Srishti. Srishta.
Oh, okay. It is Srishta. Yeah.
Very good. All right. So let's go into 6. I think Revati, Shobha, can you be a student? You in your lab.
Yeah.
Revati.
Okay. And
I am
Revati,
here.
Okay, you can also be a student, Revati. So the 6th one, like in the fifth chapter, we saw how, Lord kind of, he created first the Brahmanda, the Andam, the egg or the shape of the egg. And then he said, then he went into it and then he created the 14 worlds. That's what happened in the 5th chapter. In the 6th chapter is the Virat Dehasya Varnanam, which is the description of the Lord as if the 14 worlds are him. So if you kind of, what do you call, is manifested in that form. So it's that description of that Lord, right? Now, the reason this chapter is important is I'll just say the last stanza meaning first, just very quickly, very briefly, so that, you understand the context of the chapter. So it says in the last stanza that this Virat form of yours should be meditated upon or thought about or contemplated by everybody at the end of every puja, Vedic karma that you do, and also at the time of your death. So at the time, that's why typically, we also recite Purusha Suktam at the end of everything, because this is not a complete replica of Purusha Suktam. There's some components of here which are there, or some components of Purusha Suktam which are also here. But anyway, so this says that this form of the Lord, at the end of every Vedic thing, you should recite this form, this definition or form of it. And also at the time of death, if you're thinking of what do I think, what do I pray to, right? There's one thing, it says you think about this form of the Lord, right? At the time of your death. That's why it says this chapter is very important chapter, right? So we'll start with the first stanza.
Before that, just one quick question, Bayesh. So here we are talking about 14 worlds, isn't it? So the scene, what are those 3 worlds? Then every time in a thriller.
Yeah. So the way it is the bottom 7 worlds, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Patala, all the bottom 7 layers of the worlds. When I say worlds, it is actually layers. There are multiple, it could be universes or multiple things. It's just different layers, right? 14 layers. The bottom 7 layers are defined as one world. And then there is a middle world, which is, it says Bhu, which is where earth is, but it is a layer. It is not just earth. It's a layer, which is earth. That is a second layer. And then the remaining 6 layers on top is a third world. So when they say Triloka, they say 3 worlds. It means all the 14 worlds. It's just that they're categorized as 3 buckets.
Okay. Thank you.
So stanza 1. Evam chaturdasha jaganmayatam gatasyam patalamisha tava padatalam vadhanti padordvadesham api deva rasatalam te gulphat vayam khalu mahatalam adbhudatman. So again, this chapter, the meanings, I'm literally going to just repeat what is here because there's nothing to explain, because it's just how the person who has written this originally or whoever composed it originally has defined it, right? So it says your lower surface of the feet. So if you take your feet, the bottom of your feet, it says is Patala. The upper portion of your feet, it says is Rasatala. And then you are the 2 ankles when you start coming up from the bottom, right? The 2 ankles, those are Mahatala. So we said Rasatala, Patala, it kind of starts from the bottom worlds, right? And then it says that's your feet, your ankles, and the top and the bottom of your feet. So Evam Chaturdasha Jagan Mayatam Gatasya, Patalamisha Tava Padatalam Vadanti Padordva Deshamapi Deva Rasatalam te Gulphat Vayam Khalu Mahatalam Adbhutatman. Evam Chaturdasha Jaganmayatam Gatasya Patalamisha Tava Padatalam Vadanti Padordvadeshamapi Deva Rasatalam te Gulphat Vayam Khalu Mahatalam Adbhutatman.
Is there comma after Rasatalam te?
Yeah, at the end of every line there's a comma. Yeah, after something.
एवं चतुर्दश जगन्मयतां कदस्य पादालमीश तव पादतलं वदन्ति पादोर्त्वदेशमपि देवरसातलं ते कुल्पद्वयं खलु महातलमद्भुतात्मन्
एवं चतुर्दश जगन्मयतां ततस्य
அது ஒரு சோபா ஒரு தான் சொன்னா.
Yeah, sure.
sorry
Yeah, one second. एवं चतुर्दश जगन्मयतां कतस्य पादालमीश तव पादतलं वदन्ति पादोर्त्वदेशमपि देवरसातलं ते गुल्पत्वयं खलु महातलमद्भुतात्मन्
yeah
Go ahead, sure. Revati, go ahead.
okay एवं चतुर्दश जगन्मयतां ततस्य पातालमेष तव पादतलं वदन्ति पादोत्वदेशमपि देवरसातलं ते कुल्पद्वयं खलु महातलमद्भुतात्मन् एवं चतुर्दश जगन्मयतां ततस्य पातालमीश तव पादतलं वदन्ति पार्थोद्वदेशमपि देवरसातलं ते कुल्बद्वयं खलु महातलमद्भुतात्मन्
जंगे तलातलम अथो सुतलम च जानु कॉमा किंचोरु भाग युगलम वितलातले द्वे क्षोणीतलम Jaganam Ambaram Anga. If you want to break it, you can take it Jaganam Ambaram Anga Nabihi. Put a visarga at the end of that line and a comma. Nabihi. Next line on top of that Va, if you have a ir, you can remove that off. Vakshascha Shakra Nilayas Tava Chakrapane. So, O Chakrapane means the one who holds the discus, O wielder of the discus. It says, now if you start going up, right, so the kind of the calf area and the front of the leg, that he says that is Sutala. When you go up, your thighs, the two thighs are the Vitala and the Athala. And then, so now essentially everything below the hip, they're saying is the bottom world, right? And then you come to the hip, he says is a Bhuloka, which is the second, the world that we described, right, Bhuloka. And then it says everything that's a sky, everything which is open space is your navel, Nabihi. And then the chest, your vakshascha, your chest is Shakra Nilaya, is a, is the abode of Indra, is a Swarga, is the heavens where Indra and all the other gods reside. That is your chest. Janghe tala talamatho sutalam cha janu kinchoru bhaga yugalam vitala tale dve kshoni talam jaganamambaramangana bihi Vakshascha Shakra Nilayastava Chakrapane.
Janke Talatalam Ato Sudalancha Janu Kimchoru Bhaga Yugalam Vitalatale Dve Toni Talam Jaganam Amparamangana Bihi Vakshancha Shakra Nilayastava Chakrapane. Janke Talatalam Ato Sudalancha Janu Kimchorupa Bhagayugalam Vitaladale Dve Shonitalam Jaganam Ambaramanganabi Pakshanta Shakra Nilayastava Chakrapane.
Jange Talatamato Sutalam Sajanu Kincho Rupagayugalam Vidalatale Dve Shonitalam Jaganam Amparamangana bihi Vakshascha Shakra Nilayastava Chakrapane. Jange Talatalamato Sutalam Sajanu Kincho Rupakayugalam Vitalatale Tve Shonitalam Jaganam Amparamangana bihi Vakshascha Shakra Nilayastava Chakrapane.
Griva Mahastava Mukam Cha Janas Tapas Tu, Phalam Shirastava Samastamayasya satyam evam jaganmayatano jagadashritayr. Jagadashritayra, it is there, and you can put a plus at the end of that line and say Jagadashritayryap yanyair nibadha vapushe bhagavan namaste. So the last two lines are together. I think if your books has Jagadashritayrapi Anya, if it is there, then you can just, that is just one way of breaking it. So, but if you're going to say it together, then you replace that api in the third line and a, you combine them and say it becomes Jagadashritai Rapyanye. So Rapya, Rapyanye.
So it's okay to pronounce that R-A-P-Y, yeah. R-A-P-Y-A, right?
Rapya, Rapya, yes.
Okay, that's how my book has.
I'm confused.
Okay.
Evam Jagan Mayatano.
So what do you have? Do you have Jagadashritayr
Jagadashritayrapi?
Okay. So on the api that is you have, right? Jagadashritai Rapi, R-A-P-I, you have Rapi, and then you have Anyair, A-N-Y-A, the next line. Okay.
Yeah.
So on the Rapi, API, remove it. And then the Anyair, like A, you remove it, right? So API, if you just join those two, you remove it, and you say Jagadashritai Rapyanyair. R-A-P-Y-A, Rapyanyair.
Rapyanyair.
Yeah. Got it, Vasu?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, then going up, so if we say the chest is a Swargaloka where all the heavens and all the gods are there, and you see your neck is the Makarloka, your face is the Janakaloka, your forehead is Tapaloka, and then your head is the Satyaloka, which is the topmost loka, right? Where Brahma, which we are going to see anyway in the next chapter. So that's the top. Your head is the Satyaloka. When it says you who the entire universe is, and she says everything which is condensed inside your body, and then it not only has everything that is conceivable, even things which are inconceivable, all of it are fit into your body. Now, this is not a physical body, it's just a representation of it, right? So he says everything is you. So that's what this is representing by saying all these 14 words, this way they are just fitting in you, right? Or accommodating in your body. Griva mahastava mukham cha janastapastu phalam shirastava samastamayasya satyam evam jaganmayatano jagadashritairyapyanyair nibaddhava pushe bhagavan namaste.
Grivamahastava mugancha janastapastu palam shirastava samastamayasya satyam evam jagatmayatano jagadastridhairabhyair nibattava bushe bhagavan namaste.
And the Shobha, the last thing didn't, something was not correct. Jagadashrithairapyanyair.
Jagadastridhairapyanyair.
Yep. Yep.
Griva mahastava mugancha janastabastu balam shirastava samastamayasya satyam evam jaganmayatano jagadastridhairapyanyair nibattava bushe bhagavan namaste.
Griva mahastava mukam cha janastapastu balam sirastava samastamayasya satyam yekan jaganmayatano jagataritarpyanyar jagataritharpyanyar nipattava bushe bhagavan namaste. Is it correct?
And the third line, Jagadashri Tairapyanyair.
Jagadashrithairapyanyar.
Yep, it has to just come together. So you think of it as being in one line.
Okay.
And the
இப்போ இப்படி சொன்னா இப்படி சரியா சொல்லுங்க. ஏவம் ஜெகன்மயதனோ ஜெகதாஸ்ரிதைரப்ய அன்யர் நிபத்வபுஷே.
Yep, அன்யே சொல்ல முடியாது. Then becomes api அன்யேர் தான் சொல்ல முடியும். You can't say yep அன்யேர். It has to be yep யன்யேர். The ya sound has to come.
Jagata Anyayir.
No, Anyair. You're saying it has to be ya, ya. Yanyair.
Okay. Jagata Shritair Yanyayir.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Kriva Magastava Mukam Cha Janastapastu Balam Sirastava Samastamayasya Satyam Evan Jaganmayatano Jagata Shritair Yanyair Nibattava Bushe Bhagavan Namaste.
It's correct. You just have to say it together. You got the words corrected.
Thank you.
Tvad Brahmarandra Padam Ishwara Vishwakandha, Chandamsi Keshava Ghanas Tava Keshapashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham, Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Cha Netre. This is next. The Brahmarandra, your Brahmarandra, which is a top, is the Veda. So all the Vedas, all the ultimate truth, he says, is sitting on the top of your head. Then your hair, Keshava, Kesha is also referring to the hair. Kesha Pashaha is referring to the hair. So this hair of yours is spread. It's like a flowing hair. Just like how the clouds are all spread everywhere. Your hair is also spread. So your hair is the clouds, it says. Then your eyebrows, it says, although it says your head is the Satya Loka, right? The entire Satya Loka is also a big region. See, within that, it says your eyebrows are the place where Brahma is sitting. And then your eyelashes, it says each of your eyelashes are the day and night. And your eyes are the sun, right? So the eyes are the sun. So when your eyes close and eyes open, it says the sun comes and sun goes. It's just a metaphorical representation of this, right? And I'll do a couple of these stanzas, then I'll tell you what it says in Purusha Suktam. Purusha Suktam also has some of the same things in a couple of stanzas. I'll do after 6, I will tell you what comes in that also. So, Tvad Brahmarandra Padamishwara Vishwakandha Chandamsi Keshava Ghanastava Keshapashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshma Niratri Divasau Savita Chanetre. Sorry, Shobha, we are not able to hear you.
Unmute the music. Okay.
It's not clear. Romba lowa kekkuradhu.
Hold a second. Let me see. Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay now. Yeah.
Brahmaranta Padamishwara Vishwagandha Chandamsi Keshava Ganastava Keshapashah Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Chanetre Brahmaranta Padamishwara Vishwagandha Chandamsi Keshava Ganastava Keshapashah Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Druhinasya Geham Pakshmani Ratri Divasau Savita Chanetre.
Brahmarandra Padamishwara Vishwaganta Chantamsi Keshava Ganastava Kesapashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Driginasya Geham Pashmani Ratri Divasau Savita Chanetre. Tvat Brahmarendra Padamishwara Vishwaganta Chantamsi Keshava Ganastava Kesapashaha Ullasi Chilli Yugalam Driginasya Geham Pashmani Ratri Divasau Savita Chanetre.
Nishesha Vishwa Rachana Cha Kataksha Mokshaha, Karnau Dishoshvi Yugalam. Dishoshvi Yugalam Tava Nasike Dve Lobhatrape Cha Bhagavanna Dharotta Roshtau. That word you might have to end up saying it together. Bhagavanna Dharotta Roshtau, Tara Ganascha Dashanaha. That is there. Put a ish. Dashanash Shamanascha Damstra. It says Kataksha Mokshaha. So when you now with this eyes of yours, when you look around, when you just glance, that creates the entire creation process is started with just this glance of yours. Then the karnau, your ears are the direction. It's it's kind of, because that's where the air is kind of it's kind of what you can hear. So it says that is the directions. Then your nasike dve, the two of your nostrils are Ashvi Yugalam, are the Ashwini Devatas. Then lob, your lobha, your lips, your upper and lower lips, it says are greed and modesty. I don't know the context behind why it says that. Then your teeth, it says, are all the stars, all the shining objects that you see in the sky, all the stars which you see are your teeth because they're shining so much. And then your shamanascha dhamstra, the molars in your mouth, it says is Yamadeva. Again, I don't know why it says that, but it says your molars are Yamadeva. I don't know why it's referenced that way. Nishesha Vishwarachana Chakataksha Moksha Karnau Dishoshvi Yugalam Tavanasike Dve Lobhatrapecha Bhagavanna Dharottaroštau Tara Ganascha Dashana Shamanascha Damstra.
Last line சொல்லுங்க ஒரே ஒரு தடவை.
Tara Ganascha Dashanash Shamanascha Damstra.
Okay.
தமிழ்ல கொஞ்சம் டிஃபரெண்டா இருக்கு.
என்ன இருக்கு?
லாஸ்ட் லைன் தாரா கணாஷ்ச ரதனாஷ்ச இருக்கு. நீங்க தஷனாஷ்ச சொன்னீங்க.
Dashana, yeah, DASH.
ரதனாஷ்ச.
Okay, just change it to Dashana. Okay, just change it to Dashana. Dashanaha is there, and then you put a ish to join it. Dashanash.
நீங்க வந்து இந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இந்த தாராகணாச்சார் சாதனை முடிக்கிறேன், சார்னு முடிக்கிறேன்ல.
Cha Taraganascha.
निःशेष विश्वरचनात् गणाक्षमोक्षः कर्णोदिशो युगलं अवनासिके त्वे.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, ரொம்ப feeble இருக்கு.
Better now?
Yeah, it's better now, yeah.
निःशेष विश्वरचनाच्च कडाक्षमोक्षः कर्णौ दिशो द्वियुगलं तव नासिके द्वे लोभत्रभे च भगवन् अधरोत्तरोष्टौ तारागणाश्च दशनाः समनाश्च दंष्ट्रा. निःशेष विश्वरचनास कडाक्षमोक्षः कर्णौ दिशोऽस्मि युगलं तव नासिके द्वे लोभत्रभे च भगवन् अधरोत्तरोष्टौ तारागणाश्च दशनाः समनश्च दंष्ट्रा.
निःशेष विश्वरचना च कटाक्षमोक्षः कर्णौ दिशो च वियुहलं तव नासिके त्वे लोभत्रभे च भगवन्नतरोत्तरोष्टौ तारागणाश्च रतनाश्च मनश्च दंष्ट्रा. निःशेष विश्वरचना च कटाक्षमोक्षः कर्णौ दिशो च युगलं तव नासिके त्वे लोभत्रभे च भगवन् नतरोत्तरोष्टौ तारागणाश्च रतनाश्च मनश्च दंष्ट्रा.
The second line, Dishoshvi.
Disoshvi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stanza 6.
Disoshvi Yugalam. Okay.
Stanza 6. Maya Vilasa Hasitam Shwasitam Samiro, comma, Jihva Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi, comma, end of the line. Siddhadayaha is there, putta is there, Siddhadayas Swaragana Mukarandram Agnihi. Mukarandram Agnihi, putta Visarga at the end of that line and a comma. Next line on top of the Deva, if you have a ir, remove that off. Deva Bhujaha is there, putta is Bhujas Stanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha. Some of these are easy, like Maya will Hasitam, the smile that you have is Maya, because you look at it and then you smile and then it creates a will of everything. Then it says your breath that is coming out, Swasitam, that's the wind that is coming. Your breath is the wind that is there. Jihva is tongue. Your tongue is Jalam, is water. and Vachanamisha, and then the Siddhadaya Swaraganaha. So the tunes that is actually coming out of your mouth are the truth, are the Vedas or the Siddhas in this case. Mukarandram Agnihi, your mouth is fire. And then Deva, the gods, are your bhuja, are your hands. And Stanayugam, your breast is your Dharma Deva, is your breast. So some of these things which we saw in the last 2-3 stanzas, right? So in Purusha Suktam, I think there's one thing is it says, and some of it comes the next one also. It says Chandrama Manaso Jataha Chaksho Suryo Ajayata Mukad Indraschagnischa Pranat Vayurajayata. So prana is a vayu, right? The same thing that we saw in some of these things, the same thing comes there. And the next one is it come your manasu is the moon, that is going to come in the next one. And then it also comes Nabhya Asid Antariksham. Nabhya, the navel, your stomach. We said is the space, right? That's what Antariksham. Then the same, some of this Purusha Suktam, whatever is there of description of the Purusha, same thing is coming up in some of these things. So it's all of these ultimately is coming from the Vedas only. They are describing the Lord, form of the Lord. And then all I'm trying to say is it's consistent in all the scriptures, how they are defining of the Virat Purusha Roop form.
Rajesh, a quick question. The last 9 in or Deva Bhujas Stana Yugama, Stana Yugam, Sarvela.
Stanayugam.
Stanayugam.
Yeah.
Okay. Adane irukku or
yeah, Stanayugam.
Okay.
Maya Vilasa Hasitam Shwasitam Samhiro Jihwa Jalam Vachanamisha Shakunta Panktihi Siddhadaya Swaragana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Bhujastanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha. Shobha, again it's gone. We can't hear you. Sometimes it's clear when you last time was
100% speaker. I don't know what's going on otherwise.
Yeah, now I can hear you. Now I can hear. I think it's taking some time. It's taking some time. Yeah.
I'll try one more time, sir. Maya Vilasa Hasidam Swasidam Samiro Digpatalam Vatanhi Adaya Swarakana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Puja Stanayugam Avatarma Devaha Maya Vilasa Hasidam Swasidam Samiro Digpatalam Vatanamisha Sakunta Panktihi Siddhadaya Swarakana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Puja Stanayugam Tava Dharma Devaha.
I think I know what the problem with your setting is. There's some setting in Zoom which is only to recognize music, not to recognize, it's to suppress background noise and something, right? Because when you talk for the first 10 seconds, we can't hear you. And then it picks up. So it's realizing it later that you are talking. So anyway, you can just check that settings later. You know, there should be some setting there which is ignoring your voice for the first 10 seconds. But anyway, we heard you this time, but yeah.
Maya Vilasa Hasitam Swashitam Samiro Jihva Jalam Vachanami Sakunch Jihva Jalam Vashanami Sakunta Panktihi Siddhadaya Swaragana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Pujastanayukam Tava Dharma Devaha Maya Vilasa Hasitam Swashitam Samiro Jihva Jalam Vachanami Sakunta Panktihi Siddhadaya Swaragana Mukarandramagnihi Deva Pujastanayukam Tava Dharma Devaha.
Prishtham Swadharma Iha Deva Manaha. Put is Manas Sudham Shuhu. Put a visarga there and a comma. Sudham Shuhu. Next line, the Ra that is there becomes a Avyaktameva Hridayambhujam Ambujaksha Kukshihi. Put a is Kukshis Samudra Nivaha Vasanam tu Sandhye, comma Shepaha. Put a F there. Shepah Prajapati Rasau Vrishanau Cha Mitraha. So just we say Dharma Deva was the Sthana Yugam was the breast. So he says now your back is the adharma that is also there. Then there is a Chandra, like in the Purusha Suktam, Chandrama Manaso Jata hai. So the moon is the mind, your mind is the moon. And then your abdomen area is all the oceans or water that is there everywhere. And then, it says that the organs, the generative organs of yours are the Prajapatis who then end up creating everything. Prishtham twadharma iha deva manasudhamshuhu avyaktameva hridayam bhujamam bhujaksha kukshis samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shepha prajapati rasau vrishanau chamitraha. Show my mute lip. No, we're not able to hear you.
We want to switch.
Yeah, well, switch. Okay, Vasu, you want to do it?
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
Maya, adudane, adutadu.
Prishtam, yeah.
Prishtam twadharma iha deva mana sudamshu avyaktameva hridayam bhujamam bhujaksha jaksha kukshis samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shepa எப்படி சொல்வேலத shepa prajapati rasau vrishanau chamitraha.
And the first line is Sudham Shuhu. There's a visarga there at the end. Okay.
Sudham Shuhu. Okay, sir. Okay. Prishtam twadharma iha deva mana Sudham Shuhu avyaktameva hridayam bhujamam bhujaksha kukshit samudra nivaha vasanam tu sandhye shepa. Sorry, Telugu?
Shepa.
Okay. Shepa prajapati rasau vrishanau chamitraha.
Prishtam twadharma iha deva manasudam suhu avyaktameva hridayam bhujam ambujaksha kukshit samudra nivaka vasanam tu santye shepak prajapati rasau vrishanau chamitraha. Prishtam twadharma iha deva manasudam shuhu avyaktameva hridayam bhujamam bhujaksha kukshis samudra nivaka vasanam tu sandhye shepak prajapati rasau vrishanau chamitraha.
Troni thalam mriga ganaha. Is there put a F? Mriga ganaf. Padayor nakhaste. And then put a plus at the end of that line. Padayor nakhaste plus hastyushtra taindava mukhaha. Put a visarga there and then put a comma. Mukhaha, comma. Gamanam tu kalaha. So first two lines are together and then comma after mukhaha. Vipradi varna bhavanam vadanabja bahu. And then put a plus again. Charuru yugma charanam karunam bhudete. It says here the waist of yours is kind of where all the animals as the animal world. It says the movement when you move, it says that is causing the time to actually change. And then the last it says here that the four things, the face, hands, thighs and feet, it says are from where the four castes. The caste is not in the bad way caste. The various types of people, right? So this is exact same thing as in Purusha Suktam. It says Brahmano osya mukamasit. So the Brahmanas came from your face. Bahu rajanya kritaha, from your hand came the people who are working class came. So it kind of says the same thing. Bahu rajanya kritaha uru tarasya yad vaishyaha. So the vaishyas came from your uru, from your thighs. Padbyahum shudro ajayata. The Shudras who do all the work, they came from your feet. So it kind of says that similarly, it says the same thing. It says here that from the four parts, hands, face, thighs, and feet, the various castes or different types of people are all represented in those regions of your body. Shronisthalam mrigaganah padayornakhaste hastyushtrasaindhavamukah gamanam tu kalah vipradivarna bhavanam vadanabjabahu ruyukma charanam karunam budete.
Shonistalam Brigagana Padayornakaste Hasyustra Saindava Mukaha Gamanam tu Kalaha Vipradivarna Bhavanam Vadanabjabahu Charuru Yugma Charanam Karunam Budhete. Shonistalam Brigagana Padayornakaste Hastyustra Saindava Mukaha Ghamanam tu Kalaha Vipradhivarna Bhavanam Vadanabjabahu Charuru Yugma Charanam Karunam Budhete.
Shroni Stalam Mrigaganah Patayornakaste Yastyushtra Saindava Muhaha Gamanam Tukalaha Vipradivarna Bhavanam Vadanabjabahu Charuru Yukma Charanam Karuna Putete. Shroni Stalam Mrigaganah Patayornakaste Hastyushtra Saindava Muhaha Gamanam tu kalaha vipradivarna pavanam vadanabjabahu charuru yukma sharanam karunam putete.
Samsara chakramai chakradhara kriyaste, Viryam mahasura ganosti. The gano and then asti, so you can kind of say that together. Ganosti kulani shailaha nadyas sarit samudayas taravash cha roma, jiyadidam vapura nirvachaniyam isha. So that word you also may have to say it together. Vapura nirvachaniyam isha. So the samsara chakram, so the wheel of samskara, the activity and everything that is going on is anything you do is what is moving the wheel of samskara, it says. And then it says your shailaha, the mountains, the bones in your body are the mountains. The blood vessels which are running inside your body are the rivers or the streams which are running everywhere. And it says in your hair, it says is also the trees. Also, it said previously the flowing hair, it also said is the clouds, but also says the trees are also represented in your hair. And then it says that may this form of yours shine all the time, and then chakradhara, holder of the discus. Samsara chakramai chakradhara kriyaste viryam mahasura ganosti kulani shailaha nadyas sarit samudayas taravascha roma jiyadidam vapura nirvachaniyamisha.
Samsara Chakramai Chakradhara Kriyaste Viryam Mahasuraghanosti Kulani Shailaha Nadyas Sarit Samudayas Taravascha Roma Jiyadidam Vapura Nirvachaniyamisha. Samsara Chakramai Chakradhara Kriyaste Viryam Mahasuraghanosti Kulani Shailaha Nadyas Sarit Samudayas Taravascha Roma Jiyadidham Vapura Nirvachaniyamisha.
Samsara Chakramai Chakradhara Kriyaste Viryam Mahasuraghanosti Kulani Shailaha Natyas Saritra Samudayastravaccha Roma Jiyatitam Vapura Nirvacha Niyamisha. Samsara Chakramai Chakradhara Kriyaste Viryam Mahasuraghanosti Kulani Shailaha Natyas Sarit Samudayastravaccha Roma.
And the taravash fulra.
Taravascha Roma. Natyas Saritra सरवक्षरोम जीयाति तं वपुरनिर्वचनीयमीश
ईदृग् जगन्मय वपुस् तव कर्म भाजाम कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यांतरात्म वपुषे विमलात्मनेते वातालयाधिप नमोस्तु निरुन्धि रोगान्. So it says this form of yours, this idrug vapuhu, this form of yours which was described earlier, karma bhajam, for all those who are bound by karma, the humans and everybody who's bound by karma, at karma avasana samaye, at the time of completion of something. This completion of something, like I said earlier, could be at the completion of any rituals you do, or at the end of your life, which is the time of death, when everything is coming to an end. Smaraniya, you should then contemplate on it, and you should meditate and think about this form of yours. So thus, you who is then shining in this form of yours, who is pure Sattva Guna, oh Lord of Guruvayur, please eradicate all my ailments. Idrig Jaganmaya Vapustava Karma Bhajam Karma Vasana Samaye Smaraniyamahuhu Tasyantaratma Vapushe Vimalatmanete Vatalayadhipanamostu Nirundhirogan.
Edrik Jagan Mayavapustava Karma Bhajan Karma Vasan Asamaye Smaraniyamahuhu Tasyantarat Mavapushe Vimalatnanete Vatalayadipa namostu nirundhirogan.
And the Vasu, second line, in the karma vasana samaye. You broke it in an asamaye, you said, right? It's karma vasana samaye.
Okay. Edrik jagan mayavapustava karma bhajan karma vasana samaye smaraniyamahuhu tasyantarat mavapushe vimalatmanete vatalayadipa namostu nirundhirogan.
The first letter E. Okay, Idrig.
E. Oh.
Second time you said something else. Yeah, first time you said it correct.
Yes,
ईदृक् जगन्मय वपुस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यांतरात्म वपुषे विमलात्मनेते वातालयातीपनमोस्तु निरुन्तिरोहान्. ईदृक् जगन्मय वपुस्तव कर्म भाजां कर्मावसान समये स्मरणीयमाहुः तस्यांतरात्म वपुषे विमलात्मनेते वातालयातीपनमोस्तु निरुन्तिरोहान्.
In bookல வந்து வாதாலயா தீபதான் கொடுத்திருக்காரு. அது தீபன்னு சொல்லணுமா தீப சொல்லணுமா?
வாதாலயாதீப.
So that completes the 6th chapter. It's an important chapter. So we'll go to the 7th. So we'll just switch. Anandji, you can be a student, and Aarti, you can be a student. So this one is, so this is kind of like, all this 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are all, it kind of builds on each other, right? So this one is Hiranya Garbot Utpatti Varnanam. Hiranya Garbha Utpatti Varnanam. So Hiranya Garbha, which is in this context is referred to as Brahma. Utpatti, the formation of Brahma, as well as Vaikuntha Swarupa Varnanam. So his visualization of Vaikuntha that he sees, Brahma sees. So that's so it's Brahma's origin and the description of Vaikuntha.
Yeah, our heading is says Brahmana Tapas Vaikuntha Darshanam cha.
Yeah, but there's multiple things. Brahma's tapas, he does tapas in this, and then he sees Vaikuntha Darshanam. So he's got multiple things in this. So first is the creation of Brahma, then the tapas that Brahma does, then the visualization of Vaikuntha that he sees. So all of them are here. Evam deva chaturdashatmaka jagat rupena jatah punaha tasyordhvam khalu satyaloka nilaye jato siddhata swayam yam shamsanti Hiranyagarbhamakila Trailokya Jivatmakam Yo Bhoot Sphita Rajo Vikara Vikasan Nanasi Sriksharasaha. We spoke about how the 14 worlds. So before that, we also at one point we must have spoken about the pralayam. I think last time I might have said the prakritika pralayam and then the second pralayam, right? The which is there. So the first prakritika pralayam is at the end of Brahma's life, right? Where all the 14 worlds, everything goes away. It all merges into the Lord. That is the prakritika pralayam, which is said. Then the naimittika pralayam is what is happening at the end of Brahma's day. Right, the 1000 Chaturyugas ends over and one day of Brahma gets over. In that, what happens is the top 4 worlds, Satyaloka, and those 4 worlds still remain, but everything else is completely dissolved. There's nothing else, right? Nothing remains in that. The 4 other worlds remain intact. So this one, what is happening, and then when the whole life of Brahma gets over, that's when the chapter 5 happens, where the Lord then wakes up. He then glances, everything begins to form. Then out of his will, he creates the Hiranyandam, he creates the egg shape, and then he goes into it, and then the 14 worlds get created. All of that happened in the 5th chapter, right? So here it says, just like how with your own will, you created the 14 worlds, with your own will, you then manifested in the form of Hiranyagarbha. You manifested in the form of Brahma. So here, Hiranyagarbha means the one who is the, what you call, the soul of all the living beings in this world, right? It says it's Brahma because everybody came from Brahma at the end of the day, and Brahma came from the Lord. So you could kind of draw the arrow however you want, right? So from the Lord came Brahma, and from Brahma everybody else comes because nobody is there at this point. Only Brahma is there. So he says you then manifested in the form of Brahma in the Satyaloka, which is at the topmost of the 14 worlds that we spoke about. So this Brahma, when he comes, so initially, like we spoke, right, the Rajas, Tamas, everything is in equilibrium. So there's no will, there is no karma, nobody is bound by anything. So this Brahma, when he comes, suddenly when he comes itself, he wants to, he's excited to create. He wants to create things. So because of, he says, because of Vikasa, Rajo Vikara, because of the Rajo Guna, which is increasing in him, he is now having the will to create. Because the Lord did not have the will to create, Brahma is having the will to create, and so he then goes about that process. So evam deva, and then put a comma, Chatur dashatmaka jagat rupena jataha, put a F, jataf punaha, and then a comma, visarga, and then a comma, punaha. Next line, that is goes away. Tasyordhvam khalu satya loka nilaye, comma, jatosi dhata swayam. Yevam deva chaturdashatmaka jagad rupena jatah punaha tasyordhvam khalu satya loka nilaye jatosi dhata swayam.
Evam deva Chadurdashatmaka jagadrupena jatak punaha tasyordham khalu satyaloka nilaye jadosi dada swayam. Evam deva Chadurdashatmaka jagadrupena jatak punaha tasyordham khalu satyaloka nilaye jadosi dada swayam.
Evam deva चतुर्दशात्मक जगत् रूपेण जातः पुनः तस्योर्ध्वं खलु सत्यलोकनिलये जातोऽसि दाता स्वयम्. एवं देव चतुर्दशात्मक जगत् रूपेण जातः पुनः तस्योर्ध्वं खलु सत्यलोकनिलये जातोऽसि दाता स्वयम्.
Yam shamsanti, comma, Hiranya Garbham Akhila Trailokya Jivatmakam, comma, Yobhut Sphita Rajo Vikara Vikasan Nanasi Siksharasaha. So that 4th line is together, continuous. Yam Shamsanti Hiranya Garbham Akhila Trailokya Jivatmakam Yo bhutspita rajo vikara vikasan nanasi sriksharasah.
Yam sham sandhi hiranyagarbhamagila trailokya jivatmakam yo bhutspita rajo vikara vikasan nanasi sriksharasah. Yam sham sandhi hiranyagarbhamagila trailokya jivatmakam yo bhutspita rajo vikara vikasan nanasi sriksharasah.
Yam shamsanti hiranyagarbhamakila trailokya jivatmakam yo bhutspitarajo vikara vikasan nanasi sriksharasah. Yam shamsanti hiranyagarbhamakila trailokya jivatmakam yo bhutspitarajo vikara vikasan nanasi sriksharasah.
ராஜேஷ் ஒரு குவிக் கொஸ்டின் இதுல
ம்.
என்ன வந்து என்னோட புக்ல வந்து மக்கீலத் குடுக்கல, மக்கீல திரைலோக்கிய ஜீவாத்மகம் அப்படிதான் கொடுத்திருக்கு.
ஆமா.
ஓகே, அதுல வந்து ஒரு எக்ஸ்ட்ரா எனக்கு என்ன ஒரு டீ கேட்டவ மக்கீல திரைலோக்கிய அப்படி சொல்லணுமான்னு கேக்குறேன்.
ஆமா, it's அகில ஹிரண்ய கர்ப்பம் அகில திரைலோக்கிய. பட் எனிவே, பட் ஹிரண்ய கர்ப்பம் அகில திரைலோக்கிய. பட் அது சேர்ந்து சொல்லும்போது திரைலோக்கிய must have, it just might be getting merged. But there's no extra T or T there.
ஓகே,
Correct that. Akhila Trailokya. Stanza 2. Sohyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridayah Sampashyamana Swayam Bodham Khalvana Vapya Vishwa Vishayam Chintakulastastivhan Tavatvam Jagatam Pathe Tapatapeti Evam Hi Vaihayasim Vani Mena Vashishrava Shruti Sukham Kurvam Stapah Preranam. So they said, so Brahma, so because it's now coming after the Prakritika Pralaya, it's the first day after the next Brahma is coming. The first Brahma is, whichever Brahma is there, his first day. So now he suddenly he has a will to create, and the process has to happen very similar to what was happening in the previous Kalpa, right? The previous whole life of Brahma, whatever last Kalpa was there, it has to be formed the same process. So this Brahma is now, he wants to create, but then he's unclear how to go about it because he does not have the knowledge, right? So he's just trying, and then he's trying his best. He's trying to think, but then he's not able to. He doesn't know where to start, right? So he then begins to get worried. So it's like, when our kids are doing the puzzle, we let them go to a point, right? We tell you keep trying, right, up to a particular point, and then finally we come and give a hint. So similarly here, this Brahma is just constantly thinking what to do. At that time, he hears Vaiha Yasin. Vaiha Yasin means something that you can hear, but you are not sure where that sound is coming from. So like somebody is playing drums, I can see that this person is playing the drums. I can see, and I can also hear the sound of the drums, and I can see this person is playing the drums. So this Vaiha Yasin is also very similar to that Ashariri Vak, they say, what Kamsa also heard. You can hear it, but you have no idea who is saying that, right? So similarly here, Brahma is hearing that, he's hearing just some word which says Tapa Tapet, means tapa, it says, means he just hears that word. Tapa means to meditate, right? He just hears that voice which says tapa, and he says Vaiha Yasin because he's looking around and he doesn't see anybody. He has no idea where that voice is coming from. And then when this pleasant voice then tells him that to then just do the penance, then he decides to do that right now. Soyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridayaha, Sampashyamanaha is that put is Sampashyamanas Swayam, Bodham Khalvana Vapya Vishwa Vishayam, Chintakulas Tastivan. Sohyam Vishwa Visarga Datta Hridayah Sampashyamanas Swayam Bodham Khalvana Vapya Vishwa Vishayam Chintakulas Tastivan.
Soyam Vishwa Visargadatta Hridayah Sambashyamana Swayam Bodham Galvana Vapya Vishwa Vishayam Chindakulastasstivan. Soyam Vishwa Visargadatta Hridayah Sambhashyamana swayam bodham khalvanavapya vishwa vishayam chindakulastasstivan.
सोऽयं विश्वविसर्गदत्तहृदयः सम्पश्यमानः स्वयं बोधं कल्पनवाप्य विश्वविषयं चिन्ताकुलस्तस्तिवान्.
Vishwavishayam, there's a pause, okay?
सोऽयं विश्वविसर्गदत्तहृदयः सम्पश्यमानः स्वयं बोधं कल्पनवाप्य विश्वविषयं चिन्ताकुलस्तस्तिवान्.
Tavat tvam jagatam pate, comma, tapa tapetyevam hi vaihayasim, comma, Vanim enam ashishrava. If you want to break it, Vanim enam ashishravaha is there. Put the ish sound. Ashishrava shruti sukham, comma. Kurvam tapaha. Put a f tapah preranam. Tavatvam jagatam pathe tapatapet evam hi vaihayasim. Vani me namashishrava shruti sukham kurvam stapah preranam.
Tavatvam jagadambade tapatapetevam hi vaihayasi Vani me namashishrava shruti sukham kurvam stapah preranam. Tavatvam jagadambade tapatapetevam hi vaihayasi Vani me namashishrava shruti sukham kurvam stapah preranam.
तावत्त्वं जगतां पते तपतपेत्येवं हि वैहायसि वाणी मे नमशिश्रवः श्रुतिसुखां कुर्वं स्तपः प्रेरणाम्. राजेशंदर जगतां पते तादाने अदु
Amma, correct.
तावत्त्वं जगतां पते तपतपेत्येवं हि वैहायसि वाणी मे नमशिश्रवः श्रुतिसुखां कुर्वं स्तपः प्रेरणाम्.
Amatsu, you had a question?
I have a question. The third line, Tavatvam jagatam tapet tapet evam இருக்கு இல்லையா, அது சேர்த்தும் சொல்லலாமா? tapet evam.
Tavatvam jagatam pate first.
ஆமா.
அதுக்கப்புறம் காமா.
tapet evam.
தப தபேத் ஏவம்.
இது பிரிக்காம சொல்லலாம் இல்லையா? தபத் ஏவம்னு சொல்லாம.
Because what it is that first tapa is tapa, second is tapet ஏவம், it's tapa iti ஏவம். மூணு words அது.
ஆமா.
That you can say together. That when you generally they don't write it individually like that. Sandhir, it will get merged into one.
Yeah.
So that is totally fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
My question, I was able to get it cleared when Anandji was chanting. And a
Okay.
comma, the enga varun and the line la enak theriyala. So then when he paused it, so I put a comma.
Stanza 3. Yeah. Kosau mama vadat kumaniti jala purne jagan mandale dikshu dviksha kimapyanikshitavata vakyartamutpashyata divyam varsha sahasramatta tapasa tena tvamaradhitaha tasmai darshitavanasi swanilayam vaikuntamekadbhutam. So this Brahma, then when he hears this, he's like, Kaha, so who is this person? Right? Because he's looking around and he sees absolutely nothing. So when he sees absolutely nothing and suddenly he's hearing these two words, he's beginning to wonder who is this person who has come here, right? Because I don't see anybody, it looks like somebody has encroached, right? So similarly, he just keeps looking around and around and around. Bhagavad Gita, he just keeps looking, right? So this is very similar to, another incident, parallel, nothing connected. But when, Uttara, Abhimanyu's wife Uttara was pregnant, right? So at that time, the womb of a woman is a very protected place. Nobody can enter the womb, inside the womb, except the child which is already there, right? So similarly, the child is sitting there, and then suddenly it sees one person enters into the womb of Uttara, right? So that is because what happens is, if you remember, Ashwatthama sends that Brahmastra and he says, I want to destroy everybody in Pandava's clan. And the only person left is that person who's sitting inside the womb of Uttara. So he points at Brahmastra specifically into the womb and it goes. So when Krishna sees that, he then gets inside the womb of Uttara and then he protects that baby by going around. So that baby is looking and saying, this is a no encroachment zone. Nobody enters this place, but somebody is here. So the baby keeps looking around because it sees somebody going around it. So because it is ikshita, it looks pari, around. It was called parikshit. That's why the name Parikshit came about, right? So similarly here, Brahma is also looking all places around, saying, where is this coming from? But he's not able to see. But eventually he realizes what this means. It means that it says you have to meditate, right? And then he meditates, and then it says Divyam Varsha Sahasram. So it says 1,000 divine years. I don't know if the 1,000 Brahma years or 1,000 Chaturyugas or whatever, but he's meditating for a really long time. And eventually, when then Tvam Araditaha, he's praising you and he's meditating you for a really long time. And eventually, when that gets completed, Swanilayam Vaikuntham, you then show him your abode of Vaikuntham, you give him the darshanam at this point. So this, like even when this meditation, the reason I'm saying, not that I also do it, so I'll call that out immediately. But even when Dhritarashtra, right, then at the end of Mahabharata, when he comes to Krishna and says, what is it you have done? Right, you have killed all these people, this is not fair and all that. So Krishna then tells Dhritarashtra also and Gandhari is that you sit and you meditate for long time. This meditation not for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right? For days, weeks together. He says you sit and meditate, you will understand the reason for why everything is happening. So they sit and they also meditate and then they understand. So I think even Brahma also, it says he has to meditate, and that's the only way he'll get the knowledge of what needs to be done, right? So Kosau Mama Vadat Pumaniti, comma, Jalapurne Jagan Mandale, comma, Dikshu Dvikshya Kimapya Nikshi Tavata, comma, Vakyartam Utpashyata. Kosau Mama Vadat Pumaniti, Jalapurne Jagan Mandale, Dikshu Dvikshya Kimapya Nikshi Tavata, Vakyartamutpashyata.
Koso mama vadat pumanidi jalapurne jagan mandale dikshu diksha kimapyanitshidavada vakyartamutpashyata. Koso mama vadat pumanadi koso mama vadat pumanidi jalapurna jagan mandale Dikshu diksha vikimapyanitshidavada vakyartamutpashyata.
Kosau mamavadat pumaniti jalapurne jaganmandale dikshu dvikshya kimapyanikshitavata vakyartamutpashyata. Kosau mamavadat pumaniti jalapurne jaganmandale Dikshu dvikshya kimapyanikshitavata vakyartamutpashyata.
Divyam Varsha Sahasramata Tapasa, comma, Tena Tvam Aradhitaha, put a visarga then, Aradhitaha, comma, next line that is goes away, Tasmai Darshita Vanasi Swanilayam, comma, Vaikuntham Ekadbhutam. Vaikuntham Ekadbhutam. Divyam Varsha Sahasramata Tapasa Tena Tvamaradhitaha Tasmai Darshitavanase Swanilayam Vaikuntham Ekadbhutam.
Divyam Varsha Sahasramata Tapasa Tena Tvamaradhitaha Tasmai Darshitavanasi Swanilayam Vaikuntham Ekadbhutam. Divyam Varsha Sahasramata Tapasa Tena Tvamaradhitaha Tasmai Darshitavanasi Swanilayam Vaikuntham Ekadbhutam.
Divyam varsha sahasramata tapasa tena tvamaraditaha tasmai darshitavanasi svanilayam vaikuntamekadbhutam. Divyam varsha sahasramata tapasa tena tvamaraditaha तस्मै दर्शितवानसि स्वनिलयं वैकुण्ठमेकाद्भुतम्.
That's a 4. Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute bhate jagadbhyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sadva samukhaha bhavastu duram gataha sandrananda jharicha yatra parama jyotif prakashatmake tatte dhama vibhavitam vijayate vaikuntha rupam vibho. So he says Bahihi means outside. So this is, so where is this Vaikuntham? Right? We all described the Brahmanda, we described the egg shape, we described the 14 worlds, and we said Satyaloka is sitting at the very top. So Brahma is sitting there. Now, so then the question comes is, where is this Vaikuntham that he is now able to see? Right? So this, and where the distance, all that I'll say the next stanza, but this is, he has to be Bahihi. It says it's outside these 14 worlds. It's not part of these 14 worlds. Because like we said, is anybody who's contained in this 14 worlds, including Brahma, have a definite span of life. When Brahma has 100 Brahma years, he's contained with that, right? So even he's restricted. But he says this place, which is called as the and in the Vedas, it says Vaikuntha is sort of a set of planetary system. It's not just one place, it's a set of a planetary system called Vaikuntha. So here it says that this cannot be subjected to the traditional notions of karma which exist in the entire Brahmanda. And also there is no shoka, no sorrow, no krodha, no anger, no vimoha, no delusion or hallucination or imagining something which is not there because of Maya, that is not there. No sadvam, there is no fear. So none of these aspects exist there because there is no concept of two. The duality concept is not there. That separation, this influence of Maya, all of these things that we are talking about, all of that exists only for everything which is inside that Hiranya Andam, inside that egg. So he says this Vaikuntham is Bahihi, it's outside all these 14 worlds that you're actually talking about. And this place, it says, is always full of supreme bliss where this world is there. So you show this divine place of yours to Brahma. Brahma is able to see this, right? Although he's very far, we'll see how far in the next stanza. Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute, comma, bhate jagadbhyo bahihi, comma, shoka krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha. So put a visarga there. Mukhaha and then a comma. Sadvasa mukhaha, comma, bhavastu duram gataha. Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute bhate jagadbhyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha bhavastu duram gataha.
Maya yatra kadapi no vikurute bhate jagadbhyo bahihi shoga krodha vimoha sadvasa mukhaha bhavastu duram gataha. Maya yatra kadapi no vigurute bhade jagadbhyo bahihi shoga krodha vimoha sadva samugaha bhavastu duram gadaha.
Maya yatra katapi no vikurute bhate jagatpyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sattva samukaha bhavastu duram gataha. Maya yatra katapi no vikurute bhate jagatpyo bahihi shoka krodha vimoha sattva samukaha bhavastu duram gataha.
Sandra Nanda Jhari Cha. Jhari means it's like a stream flowing. So Sandra Nanda is like bliss. So it's a stream of bliss there. Sandra Nanda Jhari Cha, comma, Yatra Parama Jyotihi, put a F there, Jyotif Prakashatmake, comma, Tatte Dhama Vibhavitam Vijayate, comma, Vaikuntha Rupam Vibho. Sandrananda Jhari Cha. Yatra parama jyotif prakashatmake tatte dhama vibhavitam vijayate vaikuntha rupam vidho.
Sandrananda jhari cha yatra parama jyoti prakashatmake तत्ते धाम विभाविदं विजयते वैकुण्ठरूपं विभो सान्द्रानन्दजरी च यत्र परमज्योतिः प्रकाशात्मके तत्ते धाम विभाविदं विजयते वैकुण्ठरूपं विभो
सान्द्रानन्दजरी च यत्र परमज्योतिः प्रकाशात्मके दत्ते धाम विभावितं विजयते वैकुण्ठरूपं विभो सान्द्रानन्दजरी च यत्र परमज्योतिः प्रकाशात्मके दत्ते धाम विभावितं विजयते वैकुण्ठरूपं विभो.
Do one more stanza and we'll stop. Yasmin nama chaturbhujah harimani shyama vadata tvisho nana bhushana ratna deepita disho rajat vimanalayaha bhakti prapta tata vidhonna tapadhaha divyanti divyajanaha tatte dhama nirasta sarvashamalam vaikuntha rupam jayet. She says, Jayet, praise, victory to that Vaikuntha Rupam, that form of Vaikuntha. Now, where this is, right? So, according to the text, it says, Abhav Satya Loka, it is about 26 million yojanas. One yojana is about 8 to 9 miles, which is about, comes to about 210 million miles approximately from Satya Loka, right? From where Brahma is sitting, or Brahma is there, right? Is that set of Vaikuntha planetary region. So now how is Brahma? Now it's like he has no zoom, right? So he begins to see this region. And then once he sees, then he starts zooming in further. He's now able to, first he sees this region, which is shining, right? Full of bliss. It's full of, it's shining completely. And then he's narrowing down and he's zooming further in. And so this Vaikuntha, one of the things within the Andam, within the Brahmandam, people can move. Technically, people can move from one place to another. Like Bali Maharaja was there, and then he moved to the Patala, then he moves to the Indraloka. So they can move, or people can navigate between these 14 worlds. But for the Vaikuntham, you cannot move. If you move, then it's permanent, done. Right? At the end of Brahma's life, everybody moves into Vaikuntham, and then it's done. Everything is done. Right? Once you go there, you can't come out. It's not like you can visit. There are only a set of few people who reside in Vaikuntham who have that flexibility. And so the Vaikuntham is not a place where only one person is there, right? So when he zooms in, he sees several other people, but because all of them are merged into the Lord, all of them are with the Lord, they all look the same. So he says all of them are Chaturbhuja, all of them are four-handed. And then Shyama Vadada Dvisho, they have this dark bluish complexion that they are actually having, right? And then, their eyes resemble like that of lotus flowers, and they go on to describe the various features, right? Say the body is very attractive, they're all shining, and they all have the four hands. So the people like Garuda, people like Narada, then Mahalakshmi, and then Jaya, Vijaya, some of the Dwarapalakas, they're all set of these people who reside there. So they can come out and visit the 14 worlds and then go back. They have the entry exit permission. The people otherwise who reside in this Hiranyandam cannot go in there. You only go in, it's a point of no return, right? Once you go there. So here he says all the people who reside here, they all seem to be shining, because they all are not bound by any karmas. They do not have the influence of any of the Maya that all of us everybody is having. And they're all self-realized. They all have reached that point of realization, which is why they're permanently there. And then they do not have any material bodies like the people within the Andam have. They don't have any body. So when they say, oh, what do you mean when they have blue complexion? That is just the form of the energy, representation of the energy, in that they do not have physical bodies. They can take any body they want. They can take any shape they want and any form they want. But when Brahma is seeing it, he's seeing it as people having four hands, Chaturbhujam, right? So he says, oh, that form of Vaikuntham Rupan Jayet. So Yasmin Nama Chaturbhujaha. So put a Visarga there and a comma. Hari Mani Shyamavadhatha Tvisho. But you can say it together. Shyamavadhatha Tvisho. Together, comma. Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho, comma. Rajat Vimanalayaha. Yasmin Nama Chaturbhujaha Harimani Shyamavadhatha Tvisho Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho Rajat Vimanalayaha.
Yasminnama Chaturbhujaha Harimanishyamadadatyusho Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho Rajadvimanalayaha. Yasminnama Chaturbhujaha Harimanishyamadadatyusho Nana Bhushana Ratna Deepita Disho Rajadvimanalayaha.
यस्मिन्नाम चतुर्भुजाः हरिमणिश्यामावदातद्विषो नानाभूषणरत्नदीपिततिशो राजद्विमानालयाः यस्मिन्नाम चतुर्भुजाः हरिमणिश्यामावदातद्विषो नानाभूषणरत्नदीपितदिशो राजद्विमानालयाः
Bhakti Prapta Tatha Vidhonnata Padaha. Put a visarga there. Vidhonnata Padaha, visarga under comma. Divyanti Divya Janaha. Again, visarga under comma. Prajanaha. Next line, that is goes away. Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarva Shamalam, comma. Vaikuntha Rupam Jayet. Bhakti Prapta Tatha Vidhonnata Padaha Divyanti Divya Janaha Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarva Shamalam Vaikuntha Rupam Jayet.
Bhakti Prapta Tada Vidonnata Padaha Divyanti Divya Janaha Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarva Shamalam Vaikunta Rupam Jayet. Bhakti Prapta Tada Vidonnata Padaha Divyanti Divya Janaha Tatte Dhama Nirasta Sarva Shamalam Vaikunta Rupam Jayet.
In that Shamalam, there is a comma, okay? Fourth line.
Sarva Shamalam.
भक्ति प्राप्त तथा विदोन्नत पदाः दीव्यन्ति दिव्या जनाः तत्ते धाम निरस्त सर्वशमलं वैकुण्ठरूपं जयेत् भक्ति प्राप्त तथा विदोन्नत पदाः दीव्यन्ति दिव्या जनाः तत्ते धाम निरस्त सर्वशमलं वैकुण्ठरूपं जयेत्. Shri Krishna
With this, we'll stop today's class. Sandhanandhavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladeshavadebhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishtamatre punarurupurushartatmakam brahmatattvam tattavad bhati sakshat gurupavanapure hanta bhagyam jananam Kahena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana bha prakrite swabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rajesh.